Honorable Men Discord. Oschino goes in on Memphis Bleek. Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I drop episodes daily at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So, with all the things that I looked up regarding what is going on with Oschino and Memphis Bleek, I found a barrage of interviews that Oschino was a part of, and he was talking about Memphis Bleek. Now, apparently Memphis Bleek responded on social media, but there's no video of Memphis Bleek speaking against Oschino or speaking about the incident when Oschino and him were on a phone call. But I'm going to get into the things I have queued up, and I'm going to talk about this further. So let's get straight to it. Let's start with this video.
Geek. Mr. Bleek is texting me all this super disrespectful gangster stuff. Good Lord. He said, you a P-U-Y? When I see you, I'm a boom, do this and do that. I said, good Lord, really? Second of all, ain't you with Rock Nation? Ain't y'all like FBI, CIA, Department of Justice? The CEO been told on people, bro, why are you talking on my phone like that when you know you with the police? Because when I was in these penitentiaries, for real, doing my time, for real, you was running around trying to find a do-rag to match your jeans. If you could pick any state you never been to name yourself Memphis Bleek me for mercy, I could be Colorado O. Memphis Bleek ain't been to Memphis. You ain't got no idea. You ain't even know where you want to be from. You just picked any old thing. You ain't even from there. They would never accept you wearing a do. You just took a do-rag off last month. You had the perfect job. BJZ servant. You talk me make fun about me getting shot. When I got shot, I was 18. That's why I was running around in these streets. Guess where you was at? Trying to find a do-rag to match your jeans. You more like a Cisco, like the thong song. Like you more along them lines. Because guess what? If Jay-Z did the many verses he did with you, we go to any park in America and get a squirrel and put the squirrel on a song with Jay-Z, the verses he gave you, and they will blow more than you.
As I continue with videos.
You know I mean business. I'm in pop-pop mode. Memphis Bleek, how dare you? See, why you so New York with your do-rag on and running around being Memphis Bleek when you from New York? You don't hear me call myself Colorado Oschino. I don't call myself Colorado O. I'm from Philadelphia. Mind you, he called my phone out the blue sky. I was not thinking about a Memphis Bleek, a Marcy Bleek, a Colorado Bleek, a Bleek Mill, nothing. I don't need to be on your show, Memphis Bleek. Why you talk about this Jay-Z Jay-Z had $1 million chip. Jay-Z had $1 billion plane. Jay-Z, I understand that's your old head, and without him, you don't exist. Who is you? You just some boy with a do-rag on that named yourself of a city you're not even from that chase around Jay-Z. I don't care about nobody. All you care about is making sure you hold Jay-Z up. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you don't say nothing wrong. If he cut you off, you'll be right back at Home Depot. Y'all see me with this hat on?
As we continue, I'm gonna get into my thoughts on this.
Phone.
Star Wars.
I'm shooting a reality show when he called my phone. So like, Vicky was recording it. If you notice, I'm on my phone, so I'm not recording it. He just happened to call me while I'm at a reality show. First thing he said out of his mouth.
I don't want to be talking about niggas
this comes with the
kids and shit like that.
I never talked about nobody deceased kids ever.
Like, you know what I mean?
Wait, why you say that? I never talked about no.
Free.
Bro, first of all, let me tell you something, bro. I'm the one that cleaned Free Grave off. He don't. Why would I talk about his son? I'm the one that put flowers on it. He don't. What you talking about? So that's how he would try to make a narrative that's not true. No, you said talk about my son. The nigga talking about my son. I'm not talking about nobody's son.
I heard you said that, and I ain't see that. Who said you? You said.
You ain't had to see it. I'm telling you that's what happened. Everybody's seen it. I mean, I'm just saying, but I don't talk. Why would I talk about Free Son when I'm the one to put roses on every 2 weeks?
Yeah, like that's the type of shit. Oh, I ain't with that. You know what I'm
bro,
saying?
Listen, that's what I'm saying. Listen, I don't have to be on the show. I still love you. It's fine. Like, I mean, I'm on my show, but you can't be out here talking about people with deceased children. I said, what you mean? Oschino, I mean, I'm just saying, you talk about free son and this, that, and the third. I said, bro, why you saying that? I said, bro, listen, bro, whoever ran with that narrative is not true. People talked about my son that passed away. Well, I didn't hear that. This is Bleek.
So apparently, for those of you that didn't hear that phone call clearly, apparently Memphis Bleek had reached out to Oschino because Memphis Bleek has a podcast called Rock Solid, and apparently I saw some of the stuff on a separate interview that I don't have posted up here. Apparently Memphis Bleek was reaching out to Oschino to possibly have him on the Rock Solid podcast, and he just wanted to make it clear right away that, listen, if you come on the show, don't talk about people's kids, deceased kids. And that's where this video picked up from. And Oschino was trying to find out where he heard that from. He's claiming that he never said anything like that. But then it just goes on and on with Oschino speaking on his talk with Memphis Bleek and how he feels about Bleek. And we're going to go into this video so you can hear some more thoughts that Oschino has on Bleek.
You may have a different opinion if you was a Memphis Bleek or if you was somebody who were around Jay-Z every day.
I'm gonna tell you why I have a different. If I was Memphis Bleek, Memphis Bleek don't have his own. Jay-Z is his lane. I don't have a boss. I don't have nobody. I gotta hope they don't fire me. I don't got nobody. I gotta ask permission. I'm my fucking own boss. That's the difference between me and Memphis Bleek. Memphis Bleek, without Jay-Z, Memphis Bleek don't exist. Imagine Memphis Bleek being from Philly trying to get on. He's not good enough. Mind you, like I said, I got my Malcolm on. Memphis Bleek is my brother. This is something I tell him in his face. We was just on the phone every day talking. I'm mad at him because he called me and said, he called me. I was doing a reality show with shout out to Vicky and GTV. I was doing a reality show, talking to they had like a contestant with artists trying to get on. And I just gave him a speech talking to him. He called me. Like, I'm coming to Philly tomorrow. We're going to do the joint. All right. He come to Philly, but first thing he said to me, I don't want you talking bad about nobody dead kids. I'm like, what the fuck you been gossiping with, nigga? Don't fucking call me saying no shit like that unless you gossip with some niggas. I don't talk about nobody dead kids. And the crazy part, on Thanksgiving Day, when everybody was worried about their family and turkey and all that shit like that, nigga, I had my Windex and my cleaning supplies to go clean my son's grave off and to go clean Freeway's son's grave off. That's what I was doing. So they talking and just talking, Memphis Bleek, you ain't come to Freeway's son's funeral or his daughter's funeral. I go clean his grave up when everybody worry about turkey with their family. I'm out there in the graveyard. You know what I'm saying? So when I talk about it because I feel like I can. You know what I'm saying? I talk about, and I would never, why would I talk about Freeway's son in a bad way when all I said was get him a headstone so we could find him, so people could come there and find him. That's it. Now, was it distasteful? Maybe. But that's the thing I was saying to Freeway before we was beefing. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like I'm saying it now to be smart. I was saying this to him before we was beefing. Bro, get your man Young Bull a headstone. Been 5 years. You got him on the side of a hospital. You say you're organ donor, manipulating the system, but you don't care about it. You're not even like, bro. And everybody says it's a Muslim graveyard. You can get a headstone. You know, listen. When I go there, I always think about my son. My son like, Dad, how I don't got no graveyard? I don't got no headstone. Everybody in. So I'm just saying, say spirits. They get in there talking. How I don't got no joint, Dad? How you out doing all this and I ain't got no joint right here? It only costs like 4 bands. Imagine me doing that and I got a diamond in my beard. Damn, Dad, you got a diamond in your beard? You ain't even know. Gilly buying you a chain. Tell Gilly to get you the headstone.
You may have a...
What's your thoughts on what Oschino had to say? Some of the stuff he's saying, I can agree with. It's especially towards the tail end. It's almost as though he's asking the question, where are your priorities at? Now, some people feel like that's a waste of money once the person's gone, once the spirit leaves the body. Why am I going to pour money into all these other things like expensive caskets, especially when it comes to an actual funeral, and how some people get the horse and carriage. Some people look at that like it's a waste of money. There's actually people out there that say they'd rather be cremated because they don't want to put their family through those expenses. So I can kind of understand what he's saying, but who's to say if Freeway doesn't fall into the category of those out there that did not want to spend money on a tombstone, because the way he looks at it, it's not going to bring his son back, and his son wouldn't be able to appreciate it anyway. As long as there's a plaque, he might be fine with that. All right. And on a separate interview, Oschino went as far as saying that I guess Freeway allegedly had mentioned that it's a Muslim burial. Now I don't know whether or not in Muslim burials they have tombstone, but he had brought that up in a separate interview. So again, I don't know Freeway's reasoning for not having an actual tombstone, as opposed to, I guess he has a plaque. And but Oschino's looking at it like, get your son a tombstone, instead of having chains and stuff like that. But everyone has their right to choose on how they want their loved ones to be buried. Some would prefer cremation, and that's their choice. I don't really have a stake in that. But those of you watching this, do you think that Memphis Bleek had the right to go right into telling him, don't, when if you do the podcast, I don't want you talking about people's kids? Do you think that should have been something he did face to face? He should have maybe first tried to see if he could lock in having Oschino as a guest, and then in person ask him, about if he said something about people's kids, rather than accusing him. It seems like that's what sparked all of this, is because Oschino didn't like the way that he came in, and it was just accusing him of something without having facts. So whether Oschino said it or not, I'm not here to speak on if he said it or not, because I don't know if he said anything about Freeway's deceased kid. But I think his issue with Memphis Bleek is that he felt as though he's going off of gossip and he doesn't know his facts. So that pretty much started the whole barrage of Oschino going on different interviews and on his own channel just going in on Memphis Bleek. And Memphis Bleek, again, at the time of this recording, I haven't seen Memphis Bleek really respond in any type of audio. There is just something he typed in on one of his social medias, which I'll get to that last. But here's another clip of Oschino speaking about Memphis Bleek on an interview.
They ain't come to Freeway's son's funeral or his daughter's funeral. they can talk about my son. On Thanksgiving, I'm cleaning up Freeway grave and my son's grave on Thanksgiving while you was home in New York with your do-rag on, being New Yorkie. Mind you, Memphis Bleek is I don't not like Memphis Bleek. He's a nice guy. But he got to remember, Memphis Bleek, you're not shit without Jay-Z. He's a regular nigga that work at Walmart without Jay-Z. Hov not dropping no crumbs for nobody. He's in there with Beyonce and them kids. He don't even fuck with his own kids that's bothering people. You think he gonna drop you a crumb beans? You're 97. Fabulous, you taking Justin too much.
He's taking a little far.
He's like, goddamn, he be in the mirror like, I'm cute. I just don't think about Fab. I don't think he gay that like that. I think Fab really care about fashion and being cute. The anklet, Fab, you my man. I fuck with you. Mm-hmm. But bro, come on now. I'm not saying about Fab, because Fabulous, I fuck with you. I like you guys. You have some amazing clothes sometimes.
Mm-hmm. All right, he's going in on Fab now. And the thing about it, just like what he did with Memphis Bleek, on one hand he's like, Meek is my brother, but he's letting Bleek have it with words. Fab, I don't know if Fab has ever said anything about Oschino, but for some reason Fab's name is coming up, and he's like, I like Fab, but then he's insulting Fab at the same time. So it's like, I don't know what to say about Oschino. Right, so look, this is Memphis Bleek, who, this was his response. It says, Memphis Bleek response. Oh, okay, so before I get into this, Memphis Bleek, at some point in time, Oschino, with all the barrage of things that he's been saying about Memphis Bleek, Oschino had said something about, why is it that Jay-Z hasn't gone on your podcast? In other words, so like, since Memphis Bleek had tried to reach out to Oschino for an interview, Oschino's looking at it like, how come Jay-Z's not sitting down on your podcast? And my immediate thought to that is because Jay-Z wants Memphis Bleek to be able to flourish on his own, because he knows at the end of the day, if he sat down with Memphis Bleek, people would look at it like, well, you're carrying him. And probably Memphis Bleek himself would look at it like, I don't need that, because I don't want people thinking I can't, build my own brand on my own. So I think both of them mutually, in my opinion, I think both Memphis Bleek and Jay-Z both would agree that sitting down is unnecessary because they wouldn't want anyone to get anything misconstrued. We know that they have a relationship since they were born and raised in Marcy Projects. So there's no need to have Jay-Z as a guest to help Memphis Bleek grow his channel, because people are going to look at it right away like, oh, you had the cheat code. You had Jay-Z sit down with you. So I'm sure Memphis Bleek doesn't want that, even though he could have Jay-Z on the show if he wanted to. But I don't think he would want that. But Memphis Bleek goes in response to Oschino and says, GQ versus podcast is really a conversation. Journalism versus home talking it. We serious out here? All the beggars out there whipping you see why. Wiping you see why, right? And this is what Oschino had to say. He said, your pop won't even sit down with your clown ass, and pop not done with you. He's talking about himself yet. Bozo Colorado O is gonna cook your toast. You're a B diva. Excuse me. Listen, he had mentioned in one of the earlier videos that I pressed play on that Bleek was saying things to him. I guess, you know, at some point in time, Bleek texted him and was letting him have it, but he didn't share that on social media. But this is just, I don't know how you can go from Memphis Bleek reaching out to you to be on the podcast. And, well, I understand why he went out, why it led to this, but there has to be a better way to resolve any type of discrepancy. I would say first and foremost, even though Oschino wasn't the one that recorded the video, I think it was someone that he knows that did the recording. He didn't need to put it out there like that. That could have been a private conversation he had with Memphis Bleek about why is he asking him not to speak on someone's deceased kid. He that's something you could have off camera. You know, there was no need to post that. But then I don't know the full scope of, you know, that video. We don't know how long that video is. We don't know if they were shouting afterwards. We only saw a snippet. So you just never know with these things. I don't know what went wrong in the dialogue between Memphis Bleek and Oschino that they couldn't have figured this out off camera without the whole world knowing about it. But we're here now, and I don't know what's gonna be next out of Oschino. Oschino is one of those people that, you know, he's very witty, and if Bleek was to even entertain it, which I don't think he will further entertain it, Oschino is going to be there to continue to reply, and this is just not going to stop. I've seen videos where Oschino was going at Charleston White. Clearly you saw he was talking about Fab. You know, I would suggest just not even responding to Oschino if I was Bleek. Just focus on your rock solid podcast and just let it be what it is, and just ignore it. Because Memphis Bleek himself said that on one of the clips that I saw while I was putting this together. Memphis Bleek spoke about how sometimes it's best to not entertain people because your silence will drive them crazy. And I agree with that. You know, sometimes we feel as though we need to respond because our pride is hurt, or we feel embarrassed because the public is seeing what somebody is saying about us. But actually the truth is, when Bleek said this in a separate video that I didn't post, it's true. You need to ignore people, and you preserve your energy and your peace doing it that way, rather than just going back and forth, because it won't stop. It just won't stop. If you entertain certain people, the back and forth just won't stop, and it will escalate. So it's best to just ignore them and let the situation cool off if it can. But what's your thoughts on all of this? Do you think Memphis Bleek was wrong for bringing that up without knowing facts, or just assuming what someone told him was a fact and it may not have been truthful at all? Do you think Memphis Bleek was wrong for bringing that up if he wanted to have Oschino as a guest? Do you think Oschino was wrong for posting the video, or do you think he just did that to prove that he actually had a conversation with Memphis Bleek, in case Memphis Bleek turned around and said that he never reached out to Oschino? What's your thoughts on all of this? But listen, as always, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I drop episodes daily at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And before I say my last line, make sure you go to the Dancing with the Devil video. Look through my my catalog. Show love on the video. Share the video if you like it. Even if you don't like it, share it. Somebody else might like it if you don't like it. A lot of work was put into it. More videos coming each week. On Fridays, I'm dropping a video every Friday for the next few weeks. And then, of course, May 22nd, the album drops. So, now, stay honorable.